Good evening and welcome to the first meeting of 2024 for the Fairmont Area Schools. For roll call, all members are present. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first order of business, as it is every year, we have the election of officers. Is there a nomination for president?
I'll make a motion to nominate Nicole Green for president.
Is there another motion?
I will move that the nomination cease and Nicole be elected on president as a unanimous ballot.
Okay, we have a motion by Julie and a second by Mari. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. We'll now open nominations for vice president. I nominate Mike Edmond for vice president.
Second.
We have a nomination for Mike Edmond as president.
I'll move to that nomination cease and Mike Edmond be elected vice president on a unanimous ballot.
Thank you. We have a nomination by Julie, a second by Mari for election by unanimous ballot. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Moving on to clerk. Open the nominations for clerk.
Make a motion that, just to keep in the same rhythm, that we have Mari Myron nominated for clerk.
I'll second. Thank you. We have a motion by Julie, a second by Mari. Any other nominations?
I again then will move to that Mari be elected on a unanimous ballot as the clerk.
I'll second. Thank you. We have a motion by Julie, second by Jen. Is there any discussion? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Motion carries. We'll move on to treasurer. Is there any? I'll open it for nominations for treasurer.
I nominate Julie Lowy for treasurer.
I'll second. Thank you. We have a nomination for Julie Lally, a second for Julie Lally as treasurer. Any other nominations?
I would make a motion that the nomination cease and Julie be elected treasurer.
I'll second. Thank you. We have a motion and a second to elect Julie Lally as treasurer on a unanimous ballot. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. All right. So the board officers will remain the same as they were this previous past year. We'll move on to, thank you everyone, we'll move on to minutes. Has anyone had an opportunity to read the minutes and make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the board meeting minutes from Tuesday, December 12th, 2023.
Thank you. I have a motion by Julie, second by Mari. Any discussion or changes? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Moving on to our current agenda, there's a green agenda in front of you. Any other changes?
I'll make a motion to accept the agenda as amended.
Second.
Thank you. A motion by Mike, second by Dan. Any discussion or changes? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. All right, we'll move on to the fun part of our meeting where we have our celebrations. And this evening, we will hear from the classic debate team. Mr. Walker.
Thank you for having us. I sometimes work. Oh, I've turned on. Yes? No? Do I press stop?
Yeah.
Should I put it in microphone? Oh, okay. I don't use the software.
There we go. Oh, I remember setting these up now. All right. So, thank you all. I was just going to project. That would have worked too, but maybe your mic. But thank you all for having us. I appreciate you having the debate team here. Debate is not an activity with great visibility. We don't have like stadiums. We don't have local tournaments. And so at the end of each season, I like to come and talk a little bit about debate and just thank you all for supporting the debate program, tell you how the season went, and where all of the efforts of our students have gone. I usually lead with our history, which is that in the 2018 year, we switched to classic debate, and we had 2 members on the team. This year, we had 18 members on the team, and we are finally having it where we have a varsity program and a growing novice program who can now have the benefits of students to learn from. The students who've come before them, like we had Eleanor, Casey, Emily Kirkis, Weston Loftmiller, other seniors who have come in, had to just like learn how to be varsity debaters as they go, and so they just got to figure things out. But this year we had a great year, especially at the state tournament. We set some Fairmont records. I was going to open the mic to the kids to let them use some of their public speaking skills here in the real world and tell you a little bit about debate. And so I'm going to open the mic to them to both tell you what the year looked like and then how the state went for them at the end of the season. So we'll start things off.
Hello, I'm Isaiah Lockwood. I've been in debate for 4 years up to this point. Debate's been a fantastic program for me thus far. Ever since I joined, which a couple of the students here got me to join once I was in 9th grade. It's just been a fantastic thing for me. It's just really helped a lot of my public speaking ability, helped me get out of my comfort zone a lot. And it's a fantastic thing. We get to learn so much. My knowledge increased so much of how things work in both foreign policy and domestically. It's just fantastic. It really helped me grow as a person, helped me make a lot of new friends. And yeah, it's just been fantastic for all of us, I think. Over the history of the program, like Mr. Walker said, many of the first debaters in the program had to debate at we have 3 ranks essentially throughout our debate, and that's novice, junior varsity, and varsity. Those first debaters had to kind of debate like at a somewhat like JV level, novice level, just to learn how to get a feel for the program. And I've really felt like because of a lot of the people here and how much we've grown as a program, that we've really been able to find success, and it's been fantastic to be a part of that. So thank you.
Hello, my name is Andrew Hafner. I am a senior, and I have been in debate for 6 years. When I first joined, there were 2 members of us on the team, and as Mr. Walker said, we're now a team of 18. I've loved seeing the growth of this team and love how we've grown not only just in numbers, but also as a family, as many of us are friends even outside of debate, and even those of us who aren't still like to talk to each other and catch up with each other when we see things like each other in the hallway. Debate has helped me personally, as I can say comfortably that when I joined as a 7th grader, I was nowhere near a competent public speaker, but now I feel fine standing in front of the entire school board talking. And along with that, I'd also like to thank the school board for helping support our team through the past 6 years, and especially this year, which helped us get things like these quarter zips and help us get to the tournaments that have been like 2 hours away. We've had tournaments in Stillwater. Our closest that we go to the entire season is in Mankato East, which is still an hour away. So it's been really helpful by the school board to help provide us with the finances to be able to accomplish getting to these meets and being able to have success. And this year has been the most successful in our program, as we had a novice team of Clark and Leon, who are both freshmen. They both went on to the semifinals in state, which is far and away the best we have ever done, as we've only had one other team even break into brackets, which is very hard to do, as in the novice division, I believe only 16 teams break, and then in varsity and JV, only 8 are able to break in. So it's very hard to get to that level, especially when we're debating against large schools like Mounts Park Academy or schools that are in the metro area. So for a team like Fairmont to have that success, it really shows just how well this team has grown over the past 6 years. We practice debate every day except for Wednesday during the weekdays. We practice after school Monday and Friday, and then Tuesday and Thursdays we practice from 6 to 7:30, which shows that everyone on this team is willing to commit to these long practices, especially the ones that are at 6 to 7:30, which go late at night, and even the kids that can't necessarily get there on their own, the older members are willing to help give them rides and help get them. And this shows once again just how great this team has become a family. And along with this, we have tournaments. Every Saturday, we have 4 for 2 topics throughout the year, not including the state tournament. And people have shown up really well for those, and it has shown great commitment from this team. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dominic Lundmai. I've done debate for the last 5 years, and I'm now a junior here. When I started, I came just 1 year after Andrew. There were just 6 people, I believe, on the team, and we had only 1 senior. Now our team's more than triple that size, and we've got multiple in our graduating class. The nice thing about debate, and the thing that I'm going to bring up next, is that we also have to incorporate an element within our system called research. Within our debates, you have to justify your different topics and points based on the evidence that you've given and that you've collected throughout the debate season. Now, what qualifies as good evidence generally varies depending on which school you're going to, the topic you're debating on, and also what you've seen and utilized in the past. If something has used past examples, we consider that empirical evidence, and depending on the results that occurred within that, we consider that some of the highest level of evidence, and it's one that opponents will most likely ask for in a situation when you're looking to justify a point. There are other evidences, though. Generally, what we look for is people who have high qualifications, usually things that come out of universities or large institutions, better known as think tanks. Those are significant conglomerates of people with PhDs who study thousands of research papers in order to come up with a well-supported opinion. These are what we consider our highest grade of evidence. Now, I was one of the main focal points on the research team this year. Generally, when it comes to research across both sides of the argument, we debate both affirmative and negative. We can have up to around 100 pages of evidence. So and from there, we have to cut it down to ensure that what we utilize is both positive and also does not weigh us down in terms of a debate situation. So it can be anywhere from 90 pages to 120 over the course of a topic. Research is very helpful because it teaches you skills that you utilize almost any time when you're going to be in university or even in classes in high school. I've had to do research for composition classes, and debate has taught me what skills I would need to utilize in order to ensure that my paper is as persuasive and credible as possible. And that is why research and debate itself becomes such a significant part of a person's life when it's incorporated.
Hello, my name is Thomas Hamlet. I've been in debate for 3 years now. I came in when the team was already pretty big because these 3 convinced everybody to join. So, yeah, there was a lot of recruitment that year. So this year we had 2 topics. The first topic was on decriminalization of drugs. I was not here for that topic. I was actually in the soccer season. So, debate gives you a really great opportunity. Even if you're in a fall sport, you can still participate in the second half of the debate season because, the sport will finish up and debate has a second topic that comes in. So everybody in the season is, fresh on that topic. So it gives me an opportunity to both play soccer and be in debate. So I came in on the second resolution this year, which was on the antitrust legislation on big tech companies. It was a really fun topic. We went over court cases from over Facebook and Amazon, and we broke things down in terms of national security and economic stability. Yeah, there were a lot of good arguments, and it was really fun to be a part of. So I learned a lot. Thank you.
For the sake of brevity, may I invite Leon and Clark to talk about their time at the state tournament?
I'm Clark Hazard, and this is my 3rd year in debate.
My name is Leon Yang, and this is my 2nd year in debate. I joined halfway through the last season.
Yeah. And then this year we made it to the state tournament, which is where, as Isaiah explained earlier, you have to break into the final rounds of the state tournament, and we were able to do that, and then even make it through a couple elimination rounds past that. And having this experience so early in our debate career was just a really good experience.
Yeah, during the state tournament, I really didn't expect that we would get really that far in. I was pretty new to this, and I didn't really get all of the basic, or I guess more intermediate techniques used by my upperclassmen. And so it was a really great moment when we made it to the semifinals in the state tournament. And it just really helped us, I guess, broaden our horizons about what we can do and what we can accomplish.
Let me ask a question. Listening to a bunch of debaters and not actually interrupting you with a question. Is it objective or subjective measures that you're scored on? You're obviously talking about a bracket where you're facing an opponent and you beat them. Like, describe how is that measured? How do you beat them?
Oh, well, basically it's just like in a round you're going against another team, and then there will be a judge, and basically each team will present their argument throughout the whole debate. Well, basically stating their arguments to the judge, countering the other team's arguments, and in the end, the judge will decide who had a more convincing debate.
So is it like style, or are there certain things they're expecting you to be arguing, and then how you back that up?
Yeah, so judges look at a lot of different things about how we basically present ourselves, how confidently we speak, and the integrity of our arguments. And yes, the final decision is subjective. It is by a human being that has biases, but that's just something we have to deal with. And maybe, like, say we do really well in a round, and 9 out of 10 judges would vote for us, and somehow we got the 1 out of 10 judge that voted against us. But that's just something we have to deal with.
Was your quarterfinal round, your semifinal, your octafinal round was unanimous, right? Like you won on a 3-0. The quarterfinal round, they won on a 2-1. So they had more judges. The more competitive the round becomes.
Yep, that makes sense.
Other questions?
Mr. Walker, can you explain what classic debate is compared to the other forum that you mentioned before, that we'd switched to this in 2018, and I think a lot of the schools in the Twin Cities do the other kind of debate program?
And this will get a little bit to your question about subjective versus objective. Congressional debate is like a mock Congress where there are like 30 people in a room. They follow Robert's Rules of Order, and you're rewarded based on the persuasive quality of your speech. So it's, do you present yourself confidently? Do you use evidence well? Those kinds of questions. Classic debate is a 2 versus 2 format. So like you saw 2 just before me. That they are a partner, and they're going to go against 2 kids from another school, and they're going to take turns speaking, where you bring opening arguments, and you basically go back and forth, each speaker giving 2 speeches, and we have like a specific resolution to debate as opposed to a variety of bills. And so classic debate is based on what a format called policy debate used to look like. Policy debate has since become different for a lot of reasons that I'll talk to any of them about for a long, long time, another time if you would like. But classic debate gets at those fundamentals while still being accessible to students. Like with the only school that's similar to us as far as distance and like size and from the metro is, I think, Duluth East. But otherwise, like Eastview is one of our big debate opponents, those kinds of folks. They all participate in multiple kinds of debates like Lincoln Douglas, Policy, Public Forum, that kind. But classic is, we've loved the switch, and I think it's drawn a lot of kids because it's both competitive and you get some of that objective measure. Did you argue that something better would take place? So, yeah.
I can tell you, if you're interested, any of you students, in a career in law, what you're practicing now, you'll find both extraordinarily useful and shockingly unuseful, because you don't see as much argument in real life. It's more settlement, and you don't win a settlement by convincing them that you're right. But it's a very important skill set that fewer and fewer people have, and you'll find what you're learning right now useful 10, 20 years from now. So I applaud you for doing it, because it's a lot of work, and I can just tell by the quality of the presentations that you guys are putting the work in. So expect to see dividends paid for years to come. So good job, everybody.
Thank you.
Now,
And
what do we need to do to bring a tournament where all the Twin City schools have to come here?
I suggested it. The head of the league was open to it. The only worry was that many judges, and so their judges would have to all come from the metro and drive themselves. And so they were like, "If you have the space, we'll bring the bus." But finding people in the community. So if we get a big community volunteer pool, they'll come down.
What do you need to be a judge?
Almost nothing. A thoughtful adult who cares about kids. If you are interested in becoming a judge, again, I will talk
find a couple thoughtful adults.
Yeah,
Send me an
thoughtful
email, I'll
adults.
help you out.
Absolutely.
We'll figure it out.
The Mankato tournament is just next door. So we also have online tournaments. So.
And I don't want to volunteer anyone's services, but you might have a sponsor on the board in one of our newest law firm mergers in town. So,
all right, I will tuck that one away.
Yeah, keep that in the back of your mind. The one thing too, like in terms of the growth of your program, Eric, you started with 2 students. Like I remember when you presented this, as I was an administrator at the junior senior high school. I remember the first time I was at the activities fair in August. So to see the growth is commendable. And I know since that time, when you were the only staff member leading it, you've also grown that. And I know that your assistant in this process this year walked in, so I wanted to give you the opportunity to acknowledge her and her contributions to the program as well. So
yes, we have had. So we had an assistant coach last year. We had a desperate move for an assistant coach this year. Laura stepped up, and I can't thank you enough. When I saw you walk in, I was like, yes, good. We did not talk about what to say before this, but yeah, it's something that when we were at the state tournament, someone came up to me and was like, what are your kids reading on the NEG? And I was like, who are you? And they're like, I am this school's novice coach. And I was like, oh, you have coaches for every division. And I was like, and I just haven't seen you yet. And so to have a coach help with the varying levels in the team, like a 7th grader is going to need to learn different things about antitrust law than a senior. And so it's very nice to have 2 adults to be able to split the group to focus on different skills. So yeah, it's just been, I would not have been able to do it without you, Laura. Thank you. So.
Well, thank you. I want to commend all of you for what you've done this year, and also those who presented tonight. That level and depth and comfort of speaking in front of the board and the people here, we usually see from the varsity head coaches. So thank you very much. And to hear you say that this really helps you with your public speaking and being in front of people, it's very evident. And wonderful, bravo. And we hope the program continues to grow, and appreciate you guys being the students who are paving the way for other students to come. And thank you very much. Excellent presentation.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to our superintendent's report and calendar.
yeah, and as you know, our students and coaches are exiting. Again, our kids are the reason that we're all here, supporting their adventures and supporting our staff in their passions as well. So I'm going to keep my report short, and I'll add some comment to some of our other action items later as well. But just one item of note, as I do every time, our enrollment report. We've added 3 students since our December meeting, so great to see again that we remain stable there. February and March, I'll start reporting on some enrollment ranges for the current school year, as I've done in the past. Buildings and grounds updates. Last week I met with Director of Buildings and Grounds Tyler Garrison for our monthly meeting, and just commended him on the great work his team did over our holiday break. Without a lot of people in the building, they make a lot of progress along with our building custodians in really keeping our buildings in fantastic working order. They did a lot of painting, light construction, expedited maintenance, things that they were able to get done in a more efficient fashion. So thank you to them in their dedication and work there as well. One item of note too, our softball field house got all the siding and everything up just before this weather came in the last couple days. Prior to that, we had a little hiccup with some of the exterior pieces. Upon inspection, we had to take the original siding off, do some different things because of a code issue, but that's all resolved, and the siding is back up just in time for this winter weather to be upon us. We're also making progress on finalizing plans for the refurbishment of the high school gymnasium. Those are routine maintenance things, dusting, painting, refinishing the floor. I mentioned that at a basketball game that our floor was going to be refinished, and someone said already. And it's interesting to realize that we've actually exceeded the life prior to refinishing that floor. So we're not getting a new floor. It gets all sanded down, repainted, refinished, and you do that, several times throughout a wood floor's life. So it will look different, but it's routine maintenance that is being done in that space. And then the east playground here at the elementary school, the tentative plan that we're building towards is that will be replaced this summer. So continuing to upgrade those things and move forward with those pieces. Our next board meeting will be the 23rd. We will have a regular meeting. Tentatively, we'll have a work session or a representative from the Open Door Health Center join us as part of that meeting to answer questions from you as a board, to have a discussion prior to bringing that matter to a formal vote to move things forward.
Right, thank you. Any questions for Superintendent Tradow? All right, then we will move on to financial business donations.
In Appendix A, we have a resolution to accept a donation from the Fairmont Cardinal Booster Club for purchased items and services provided in the past year, totaling $21,314.49 for Fairmont area schools extracurricular programming. That includes donations to each organization out of that total. And also this year it included new softball batting cages, a new wrestling mat, the new windscreens that you may have seen at Mahoney Field and Herb Wolf Field that have all the banners with the championship years and such on them, and the huddle program as well, all in various amounts that are listed on the back of Appendix A. I move to adopt the resolution to accept the donation from Fairmont Cardinal Booster Club.
Thank you. We have a motion by Dan. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion by Dan, second by Julie.
I have a question. The itemization is that, let me rephrase my question. They're donating $21,000 to reimburse the school for expenses that we made on the items that you mentioned.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
We changed that process 2 years ago so that there was no question regarding who owned the materials and was responsible for the maintenance of them. So when we purchase them, that's clear, and then they make the donation in alignment with those purchases.
Thank you. Any other discussion or questions? Okay, we'll move to roll call vote for the resolution. Jen?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Mike?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Mari?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. We'll move on to financial reports. Jessica?
Yes, you have a couple different bill runs in front of you and the wire transfers from December 8th, 2023 through January 3rd, 2024. The only thing that really changed on the wire transfer sheet is we do have 2 new vendors that we added as insurance options, starting with the 2024 calendar year. So Principal and Healthiest You are new vendors that we pay via ACH. Otherwise, on all of the bill runs, the only thing I'd like to point out is on the December 26th bill run is we did have our bond payment, our semi-annual bond payment, so that was $2,290,000. Do you have any other questions?
Are those on all of the previous bonds together, or?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, if there's no questions for Jessica, I'd entertain a motion.
Okay, I'll make that motion to approve the wire transfers for December 8th, 2023. Seems like a long time ago already. And January 3rd, 2024, the December 31st, 2023 single check, and the payment of the December 26th, 23, year 2023, and January 9th, 2024 bills.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. We have a motion by Julie, second by Mari. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Old business, we do have some, which is unusual. We have a policy for the second reading. Julie?
Yes, it was presented at our last meeting, the first weekend, or the first Tuesday in December, the Literacy and the Read Act, Policy 621. And because it was a brand-new policy, it was presented, and members were to review, and, I mean, it had already been reviewed by the policy committee, but it was brought forth to the members of our board to review, and that, as I'm aware of, there were no other changes in that so now it's been to be re-presented for approval at this meeting, and I will make a motion to approve the adoption of new policy 621, Literacy and Read Act.
I'll second. Thank you. We have a motion by Julie, second by Jen, to approve policy 621. Any discussion or comments?
I'll just add that on this policy, this is a direct response to new legislation required of all school districts in the state of Minnesota. So this is not a district-initiated policy, but one that falls in line. And as you see in the references, there are statutory references for the READ Act. There will be subsequent professional development plans that we have to submit and have in place to be in alignment with that for our teachers as well.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. New business, school board committee assignments.
I'll make a recommendation to adopt the proposed committee assignments, which remain unchanged, with one notable exception of the combination of the policy and curriculum into one committee instead of two.
Do you want to say who's on that committee now? Because it's kind of changed.
The curriculum policy committee would be Nicole, Julie, and Jen.
Thank you. I'll second that. Okay, we have a motion by Mike, second by Mari, to approve the school board committee assignments as presented. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. We'll move on to,
We're still doing policies. What do you mean? We're not done.
okay, we'll move on to policy. Julie?
Yes, so, and in our last policy meeting, and we are not done with policies. We're done with the major amount of the legislative changes, but we will continue to review policies throughout the school year as our schedule, as we have maintained. So, so we had met, and was Wednesday, December 20th at 2 o'clock we met, and we revised the school board committee meeting, just the committees, and with that policy, that is not a MSBA policy. It's basically just because it pertains for our district. But yes, we did change that so that the combining of policy and the curriculum as one committee, as they were previously two committees, and then the other was the governance committee, which would be the president, vice president, and those members, and then that'll be negotiations would fall as to their responsibility, and then they would then also make the determination at the time of the negotiations to maybe ask a third board member to be on that committee with them at that time. So that kind of falls in what we did this year, and so now our policy reflects that. So I will make a motion to unanimously approve the following policies: policy 213, school board committee, and, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to even tell about the other one, the tuition agreement for secondary students. That also is not an MSBA policy. That was a policy that we had adopted in our school district many years ago, not really many, but several years ago. And we just feel it's really, on the advice of our school attorney, we have decided that we are going to repeal that tuition agreement for secondary students policy, because we figured that if we would do that, we would have to come through and do something anyway, and there was monetary limits and financial things that were connected to it, so we just thought it was easier to repeal it and then deal with it as if we would need to do that. So we are just going to revise policy 213, the school board committees, and then do the repeal of policy 539, tuition agreements for secondary students.
Do I have a second? I'll second it. Thank you. We have a motion by Julie to approve policy 213 and to rescind policy 539, and a second with Mari, as presented tonight. Any discussion?
Just to add on to what Julie said and to clarify, we can still have tuition agreements with other districts. That's what
Yes.
she was alluding to with the legal advice. And whether or not we have this policy, we would have to enter into separate agreements with another school district or whatever it may be, whether we have the policy or not. So that's the legal reference that
Right,
she
and
was
then the
referring
financial
to.
amount that was connected to it
Correct.
as well would have to be reviewed every year and that, and so we just decided that
Yep.
we'd have to do it all anyway, anytime there would be a tuition agreement, so it was just easier to repeal it and go
Right.
forth as we need
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, and there are state laws that dictate what we can and can't do.
Yep.
And so this policy was really redundant and unnecessary. Any other discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, motion carries. Okay, we'll move on to MSBA conference. And
I'll make a motion to approve the attendance of school board members and staff to the MSBA Winter Conference, which starts tomorrow night and runs through Friday midday. I'm not sure who's all going, but I know several of us are going.
Well, the MSBA, I don't know that our members are gonna actually, we're gonna go to the cities. I don't know, do we have any members that are attending anything tomorrow or tomorrow night? I mean, I don't think it makes any difference, but, basically the conference though is Thursday and Friday till noon, so.
Yep. Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Mike, second by Jen, to approve attendance to the MSBA conference January 11th, and which is held January 11th and 12th. All those in, any other discussion?
I note that it's snowing and cold, so.
So it's
It always is.
season for the conference.
It
As per
always
usual.
is. The weather is always bad. when it comes to
99% of the time, it is sub-zero, and we're always wondering when we're back there, what's gonna happen with the roads and school attendance, just because of the weather.
At least 3 or 4 of the last 5 years, for sure.
Oh,
It's,
I've done it how many years, and it's, like I said, 99% of the time, so.
Any other discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, motion carries. We have our e-learning day plan.
I'll make a motion that we approve the Fairmont Area Schools e-learning day plan, which is a e-learning plan put in place that we've talked about at least twice here at meetings, that allows the school, in the event of unusually high number of inclement weather closings, to convert to e-learning as an option. If we don't approve it ahead of time, then we can't use it at the moment that we would want to use it. So we should approve it now so it's available. So I make a motion that we do so.
I'll second that.
Thank you. I have a motion by Mike, second by Julie. Any discussion?
Yeah, I'll add a couple of things there. I know one of the things, we cleared the first step last spring when we approved the calendar for this year, identifying that we would be entertaining this. The next step is for the board to approve the plan, which is what we're doing tonight. And one of the things that we're doing somewhat uniquely is last year we ran into the scenario where we had dropped below the state required minimum number of school days, which is 165 student days. Therefore, we had to add, I believe it was 2 student contact days onto the end of the school year to meet the state minimum requirement. So what this allows us to do is we still have some flexibility in there. To cancel school as a traditional snow day has been done in the past. And if we were to meet that threshold, this gives us the flexibility to implement e-learning days, all but assuring the last student day will be May 31st during the current school year. So it eliminates some of that wondering if we were to start accumulating snow days, it allows us to do that. So our plan is to use traditional snow days, and then if we meet that threshold, we would at that point provide an increased level of communication as we get closer to families and students to make sure we are adequately or more than adequately prepared for the implementation of those days. So more specific information to come as they're necessary from building principals and classroom teachers on that plan.
I know we had parents that questioned that last year as to why we did not have e-learning, but it was because we did not have this plan in place. And so by law and by the Department of Education, now we have fulfilled that, having this plan in place, and now we can do that. So for those who, you know, had spoke up to me prior year as to why, just be note that this is the completion of that. So.
You know, I'm still going to tell my kids that we're thinking about taking away their snow days if they don't, get their chores done. So we still can do that, just for the record.
I don't want to
At
be
the
part of
point.
that.
We can. The state would not require us to, but that
Right.
still then becomes a local decision. So yes, you as a board can require us to make up whatever canceled days you choose.
Students, make sure you listen to your mom and dad on snow days. One chore, then you can go sledding.
All right, thank you. Do we vote?
We have not voted
Yes.
yet.
No, no, okay. Any other discussion? Got caught up on chores. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, motion carries. Sale of the Hunt farmland.
Okay, this is a long resolution, but I am going to read it all into the record. Whereas the district owns the property located near Interstate 90 and Bixby Road, parcel ID number 160310700. Whereas the district took ownership of the property in 1990 via donation from William and Margaret Hunt. Whereas the Hunts made the unrestricted donation of the property to the district on the condition that the annual income from the lease or sale of the property be used for the William and Margaret Hunt Education Fund. Whereas the district has used a portion of the property for school purposes and leased a majority of the property for agricultural purposes. Whereas the school board previously determined that it wished to retain ownership of the property used for school purposes and sell the remainder of the property as the remainder is not needed for school purposes. Whereas the school board previously authorized and directed district administration and legal counsel to subdivide the property and hire an auctioneering company to market and sell the portion of the property that is not needed for school purposes. Whereas district administration had the property surveyed and created 4 separate parcels identified in the survey as tracts A, B, C, and D. Whereas 2 of those parcels, identified as tract A and tract B, are to be sold as they are not needed for school purposes. Whereas on December 21st, 2023, the district held an auction for the sale of tract A and tract B. And whereas the district has negotiated a purchase agreement with the highest bidder for tract A and the highest bidder for tract B. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the School Board of Independent School District number 2752 as follows. Number 1, district administration and legal counsel are authorized and directed to take all steps necessary to finalize and complete the subdivision of the property. The school board has determined that the portions of the property identified as tract A and tract B in the survey completed by the district are not needed for school purposes. The purchase agreement for tract A attached in Exhibit A is hereby approved by the school board. The purchase agreement for tract B attached as Exhibit B is hereby approved by the school board. The school board chair and clerk are hereby authorized and directed to execute the requisite deed contemplated under each purchase agreement. District administration and legal counsel are authorized and directed to take all other action necessary to implement the terms of this resolution, including but not limited to the execution and recording of all documents necessary to close the real estate transaction and subdivide the property. Following the closing contemplated under each purchase agreement, district administration is authorized and directed to maintain and use the proceeds from the sales consistent with the terms of the Hunt's donation and in compliance with all applicable laws and regulations. The purchase agreement, which I will not read because it's even longer, but for tract A, I believe that was the north of the interstate parcel, tract A, was purchased by Guy Beamer in the amount of $525,228. And Tract B, which is the larger one south of the interstate, was purchased by Randy E. Miller in the amount of $770,913. I move that we approve the resolution in Appendix F for the sale of the Hunt Farm property.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Dan and a second by Mari to approve the resolution for the Hunt Farm as presented in Appendix F. Any further discussion or questions?
I will make comment after the vote, but I have some additional details that I was able to share at the auction that
Okay.
I'll just share here at our public.
Okay. Any others? All those in favor?
It's a resolution. So we
Oh, I'm
should do
sorry,
a roll
resolution,
call.
roll
Yeah.
call vote, yes.
Aye.
Jen, aye. Dan?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Mike?
I need to abstain due to a conflict regarding Tract A.
Okay. Julie?
Aye.
Mari?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Yeah, thank you. One of the things, when we had the auction on December 21st, I was able to welcome the group in this exact room. It was a great turnout, a lot of support and interest in the properties. But one of the things, as Dan, read through some of the parameters and the timelines and the length that we've owned the property, it is important to note that the proceeds from the sale, in pulling out the one item that he had stated to highlight, have to stay within the parameters that the Hunt family designated us to use the proceeds. So the funds that we are receiving and the revenue for sale of the land do not go into the general fund. They do not go towards general operating expenses. Our annual income off of the reinvestment of these funds, 25% of that annual income has to go towards student scholarships. The remaining 75% goes towards student enrichment opportunities throughout our school district. So the revenue goes directly to our students and things that they are engaged in. It's not going towards ongoing maintenance costs or staffing costs or things of that nature, unless it were to be related to the original purchase for a student purpose. Some things that the proceeds have gone to in the past when we've rented the land have been student scholarships through our community education recreation program. They've received an allotment. We've had students going on to post-secondary education receive scholarships too that have been filtered through our Dollars for Scholars program. Additional field trips that may not otherwise be able to be funded are also under consideration as an enrichment opportunity. And I could go on and on with that. But it's an important distinction because, as I got questions leading into the sale of the land and leading into the auction, that was a prominent one in terms of, what will the school district do with the proceeds. So we will still have a Hunt fund as part of the school district that all of these funds will remain in for use. So just wanted to highlight that. And again, so it was a win-win, a win for the school district and our students. That day too, members of our FFA leadership team and students that take part in our agricultural education were able to be here and take in that experience. So, what a valuable learning experience for them to participate in that. And it was great to have them here, to be able to talk with them between rounds of the auction and to just hear what they were learning and things that they were taking away from it. So that alone, the process itself was a student enrichment opportunity, which really came full circle to the intent that the Hunts had with that. So that legacy will live on past any of us in this school district as part of what they intended the land to be used for. So I'm grateful for that and look forward to the projects that we're able to do with that moving forward. One additional thing with the FFA reference, the 9 tillable acres that we are retaining, our students that are involved in FFA and our agricultural classes and department will be directly involved in the usage of that land. That's something we haven't done in the past with it, that the Ag Advisory Council that's adjacent to that program has shown interest in, and we are, as a board, in one of our closed sessions, you had commented, our definite commitment to that long term as well. So a lot of great things to come in the future adjacent to this transaction.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, we will move on to personnel, employment. Mari?
Principals Brusky and Schultz have recommended the employment of Courtney Schollerman. She's a Fairmont High School graduate as an administrative support assistant, ASA, at the high school office. Courtney's primary responsibility will be to serve the student window. That window we changed over the summer. And then also Gracie Zemer, she's also a Fairmont High School graduate as a special ed paraprofessional. So with that, I will make a motion to hire Courtney Schollerman, ASA 1, Step 1, effective January 3rd, 2024. Gracie Zemer, Special Ed Paraprofessional, Step 1, effective January 11th, 2024.
I'll second it.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Resignations, Mike?
We have a couple resignations that have been requested that we need to approve. The first is for Aaron Elder, who's the new dean of students at the high school. And then the second is a paraprofessional, Megan Marushin. So I would make a motion to accept the resignation of Aaron Elder effective January 19, 2024, and to accept the resignation of Megan Marushin effective January 26, 2024.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. We have a motion by Mike, second by Mari. All those, any discussion?
I just would make a note that in our notes, it says that Megan had served our district since 2014, so I thank her for her time that she has spent with our students.
Yep, absolutely.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Move on to board committee reports, CER, Mari?
We had the meeting December 14th at the Schmidt Building. The spring brochure is online. The next one will go out as a paper copy in the summer brochure in the photo press, so everybody will get a paper copy of it, as well as it being online. Stephanie wanted to note that the snowshoes are available now that we have snow. There was good participation over the holiday, the roller skating, the family open gyms, and the craft offerings. There is a new gentleman that's going to be focusing on STEM, and he's also offering a cribbage class for young and any age. He's going to do different levels. They're focusing more on youth art and youth adaptive basketball is what they're offering. And if anybody has any ideas for Steph or wants to teach a class, she would love to get as many offerings in as possible. So,
Thank you, Mari. Any questions for Mari? Policy committee, Julie?
I really have nothing more to tell you because we acted on everything, but we do have a new meeting set up for January 15th at 1 p.m.
All right, thank you, Julie. And SDCC, I did not attend.
Yeah, I can give
Superintendent
a quick update. That meeting was held on January 2nd, directly following our staff development professional day with Kagan Structures. It's an outside company that came in to provide professional development to our staff in 2 different tiers based on their experience using the strategies that are used to promote student engagement within the classroom, and some organizational features that are with it. We've spent a lot of time reviewing the feedback from that day and planning on how we're going to continue to carry that learning throughout the school year.
Thank you. Any questions for Superintendent Tradow? All right, we will.
Motion to adjourn.
Well, I would ask real quick, do Abby or Grace have anything to share with us?
We met before Christmas break. It's been a while. We meet again next week.
You're on the schedule to present next week.
Yeah,
right?
they're on the schedule to present on the 23rd too. But do you have anything from our
Awesome.
last meeting that you remember?
The one thing we talked about, I know, was just working. We don't have like anything we're really doing right now, but just working on different ways to like promote positivity and stuff in the schools. And so we've been working on different things, like putting different positive things in the bathrooms, things like that. But there's not really anything new. Huddle's still going good. I know we've talked a lot about that. Had the girls game on my TV, the boys game on my computer last night, so it worked good for me. but yeah, things are going good. There's no complaints, so I think that's a good thing.
Thank you.
And speaking of, they mentioned huddle. As we adjourn here in 20 minutes, our Fairmont Area Schools' first ever dance showcase is being hosted tonight at the Fairmont High School Gymnasium. So we have teams from throughout the conference. It's a conference dance showcase in competition. If you can be there in person, the JV starts at 6:30, followed by the varsity jazz and kick lines. If you're unable to be there in person, you can go to the Fan Huddle website and find Fairmont High School, and you can watch it there from the comfort of your home or on your smart device as well.
Thank you. All right, we had a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Mike, second by Mari. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries.